Hello there. Today I'm out and I'm exploring a bit actually. What I'm exploring are some local areas. This one in particular is, well, as you can see behind me, it's woodland, but further into the woods here. I'm just gonna turn off from the road here really soon, and I'm hoping to find some more open areas with some more rocky formations and things amongst the trees. And I really want to find more local areas right now because of the increase in gas prices and things like that, making it a lot more expensive to drive further away. And also I'm a bit more pressed for time nowadays. So hopefully we'll find something. Follow along and see what we find. So, these are more of the open areas that I think I was looking for. And it's basically a ridge following down all the way down there towards the water down over there. So I'm gonna follow that and see if I can find something. I have to confess, I do not have the best light for photography right now. It's basically clear blue sky, almost. A little bit of haze at least, softening the light just a little bit. But harsh directional light can be interesting sometimes. So I'll just have to see if I can find something that integrates well with the light that we're currently having. Not impossible, but it's hard to find. Well, I did find something at least. I was just up behind you and I came around this tree and I saw this dead tree here, or this dead log in the foreground just down here. I thought it was really interesting the way it looked, but at the same time I don't really like to photograph dead things that much. But I kept in mind the interest and I went down here to have a look, and I really liked the open nature and how everything looked in the background. It was nicely separated with the trees, having some light falling down on the bushes that are called something that I've forgotten right now. Just hold on for a minute. I can't remember. Anyway, and I could see the light falling down on the mid-ground there, and the background is, well, not really that interesting. I really don't want to include any of the sky, at least. I knew that much. And anyway, I worked the scene a little bit and I think I came up with something that could be interesting. I'd still classify this as a bit experimental. Since I'm not really sure how everything is going to come together, and it's going to be a little bit dependent on dodging and burning in order to bring interest into the right part of the image. But I've done similar things in the past where I've taken something that seemed to be overly complex for a photograph and then try to simplify it, to try to bring or direct the viewer to the right points within the image with dodging and burning. So it's a nice exercise to do this, and let me show you the composition really quickly, and then I'll just show you the image. I don't need to dwell on this one for too long. It's not that special. So let me just show you the composition. So here we have the composition, and basically you can see the branch or the log coming in from the bottom left corner there, arcing around, swirling into the second log that is coming into this point, this gnarly root of the tree that has fallen down, and then it basically ends up in the background right there where we have the light showing. So it isn't really, the composition isn't that complex in a sense, but there are a lot of different elements, and we have light on certain points that doesn't really need a light. We have the small little trees there that aren't perhaps all that interesting. In a sense, I would like to kind of go over there and drag them up, but I'm obviously not going to do that. Perhaps I might do some object removal in Photoshop and remove them. I'll have to see how it works on the bigger screen. A lot of times it's easier to determine how a composition works on a bigger screen, even though something looks interesting on a smaller screen. When you get it big, it doesn't integrate into what you think it will on a smaller screen. I find that quite often, that something might look interesting more in an abstract way on a smaller screen, since you don't see the details and you don't see the whole picture as much. You just see the shapes much more in that way. So on a bigger screen it's easier to actually get a real view, a real proper view of how the composition works. But I find it interesting to frame something up in these less than ideal conditions and still be able to get away with something. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave you with that and continue onward to the next composition, wherever that might be. Right down there we have the lake. And we're going to continue following it down. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get down to the lake or not, but I'm going to have a look at least. It looks really pretty, but perhaps not that photogenic. So we're right here at the edge by the water, or almost. I'm not really going to bother go down. As you can see in the corner here, it's really wet down there. I'm sure it's all right now. It's been below freezing during the night, but still not really that interesting. Or actually I might go down there just to see how it looks. It looks to be a rock all the way down to the lake. So let's go down there and have a nice little look at how the lake really looks from down by the shore. So it's very pretty down here. You see a couple of interesting things perhaps. So out there we have some bird, or perhaps even a beaver swimming. It's probably a bird. We have this little island out there. Over there, well, pretty. And right here we have a rock face in the world there. Not that it's interesting enough to actually take a photo right now, at least. I can see down here, I didn't see that at first. There is actually a rock leading out into the lake there. So I'm gonna go over there actually and have a look as well, since that might be an interesting leading foreground element for a... what would that be? Sunrise, perhaps? Or a sunset? Probably a sunset during summer. So the scene looks very calm and tranquil right now, and let me stop down a little bit. The sunlight is actually starting to fade a little bit, and we're getting clouds in, which is actually great, getting more diffused, which is great since I'm then getting more diffused light, softer light. But as long as the sun is able to push through a little bit, I'm still getting directional light, which is excellent. So the day isn't over yet. Let's go down and see how it looks. It's very calm and tranquil right now, but the light isn't right for it. I'm gonna grab a snapshot with my phone actually, since it's so pretty, so calm, a very nice morning. But the light isn't right for a grand scene like this. It might be interesting, but it's a bit... I don't know. I might come back here during sunset sometime, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm gonna do something a bit unusual, actually show you my snapshot from my phone. It looks really pretty actually, but still I'm not gonna take out my real camera and take a photo of it, since it's more of a postcard-ish view and light right now. Really pretty, but not something that I would ever stick in my portfolio. So I just came up from the hill behind me here, and I was greeted by this lovely, nice mixed opening, let's call it that. And through that I saw this nice little scene in front of me, and let me show you what I framed up. So what I saw was the moss behind it, open, brighter, just looking really interesting. And then there was this streak of light, and the trees just simply lined up in a perfect separate way, or a perfect way they were separated, and it just looked so good. It just waited for me to capture it basically. And the way I framed it up, it was to try to balance out the spacing of the trees. And the only thing that I don't necessarily like is that the moss is continuing on one side and not the other side. Also, I didn't want to include that tree, so I had to kind of zoom in. And if I stepped to the sides, I shifted the balance of the tree, so I had to frame it up in this way basically. And what I'm going to do is to crop it remove a little bit on the bottom and a little bit on the top, and it becomes a panorama focusing in on the interesting part of the scene. So I think that is a really interesting scene, and just another example of that. You don't have to have the perfect light in order to be out and capture interesting images, as long as you're looking at the right things and eliminating the sky a lot of the times and just focusing in on the light that you actually have within the forest, just these small streaks of light that is coming from the sun. I think those are really interesting. So I'm really happy with this, and yeah. I'm basically around halfway of the exploration. I'm going to continue around a lake right now and then start to head back towards the car again. So yeah, very interesting, very exciting. Well, here I've been before, but it was a long time ago. And I can see the firewood that I left here. It's a fire pit. Seems no one has been here since last time I was here. At least made up a fire since the last time I did. But this is not a destination. I'm just passing by today. It's starting to get really warm right now, so I'm gonna have to take my jacket off. This view is pretty spectacular, actually. I'm gonna have to grab a snapshot of this one. The foreground here is just spectacular. I marked out this location. The sun is rising right over there, so this is a sunrise location. The sun is getting at a worse, or the angle of the sun is getting worse as we're getting closer towards summer. So winter until about now, or then I'll have to wait till autumn to grab something where the sun is at a better angle. But still, if I get a good enough sunrise, get color all over the sky and having that reflected in the water and just having this grand foreground here, that is just spectacular. Just working with the angle and just really trying to show everything here. I've seen this location from the other side actually. If you can see barely in the background there, there's a road. I used to hike there quite a lot. Earlier, a year or so ago, I hiked there quite often. And I could see this location, but I never really took my time to get here. Since I was hiking there as exercise, I never really got to get here to practice photography. But now I'm not hiking there anymore, and I can start to focus on this location more for photography's sake. And I'm actually exercising in another way now, but that's another thing. So really, really happy that I got up to this location, and this has just been worth everything in terms of exploring today. This is what you want to find when you explore. You just get something, and I know that this location is unique. No one has photographed this before, or at least it's not known. Perhaps someone has photographed it before, but it's basically unphotographed. So I'm really excited to get back here someday when we get a good condition for sunrise and just try to capture all of this. I'm just gonna have to try to kind of perfect my way in here since it's not that easy to hike through a thick forest in the dark. But yeah, very happy about this. I'm very excited. This has literally made my day. So I'm back at the road again, the forest road that is. I'm just gonna follow it back to the car, which means this is the end of this video. Really enjoyed exploring this area. Found a couple of woodlands compositions, always interesting, and then I found a couple of locations that were promising for sunrise. One for sunrise and one that might be something for sunset. So a very successful day indeed, and I leave this area now with the knowledge that it is definitely worth to come back here. So that is one area closer to home that I can continue to explore and can get lots out of without having to drive very far, which is excellent today. So if you like this video, leave it a like, remember to subscribe in order to stay tuned for more. Share this video if you found it useful and you think someone else will find it useful. And I'll see you all next time. Until then, goodbye.